think that, I know that there are still people that are being held, is exposure to an audience in the United States, will that help their case?
I think it did. So Wang Yu, the lawyer, she was arrested in July 2015, and it was among the probably the largest crackdown on human rights lawyers, where 300 lawyers across the country were detained, questioned. Some of them are still in jail. And because of Wang Yu, she's a high-profile lawyer, and
Her
her
husband
case,
as well, right?
her husband as well. So the day when it happened, she was arrested around 4 a.m. at her apartment, and her husband, who is also a human rights lawyer, that day was taking their 16-year-old son to the airport because the son was going to Austria for school, and her husband and the son were detained at the airport. And the son's passport was confiscated by the government, so he couldn't go out to go to school. And both Wang Yu and her husband were arrested that day, and they had been held for a year in prison. And during that year, the international community organizations such as Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International and a lot of other organizations had campaigned for her and for other lawyers. And because of the international pressure, it was reported on New York Times and a lot of media as well. So the government recently released her. They published on public TV a video of Wang Yu confessing, saying that I am guilty and I regretted what I did. And she said, because at the time, the American Bar Association had awarded her a Human Rights Award of that year. And she said, I refuse to accept this award. I do not recognize it. And I do not want any involvement of foreign governments, especially the American Bar Association, the American government. If you insisted this award on me, it's a violation of my human rights. So everybody who knows her and who sees that video would know it wasn't her talking. The way that she talked was like a robot. It's basically scripted, and the delivery was very obvious that it wasn't her. But after that video, the government announced her release, but nobody could contact her. Nobody knew where she was, and the family didn't have any contact of her. So apparently she's held now somewhere in secret. But at least because of the international pressure, that the government was deterred from doing something more extreme.